Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Carl, instructor at Acalcom Networks. Welcome to this Illustrator class. I'm so excited to be teaching you transformation options. So we are going to design these amazing shapes you see here from these artboards, where we're going to use the transformation effects for you to see how we can design such kind of amazing design work. So I think we should just get started and uh, let you understand how you can make these shapes. So we are going to close this one and create our own. We're going to create our artboard. So here we are going to go to new. Under new, we are going to use inches. So let's set our here to inches. Then we're going to use inches 12 by 12. We just need to pick only one artboard. We don't need the blade. The blade you will set in case you want to design where we are going to print your output. Now we are not going to set any blade. We are just going to use the artboard. You can use either the portrait orientation or the landscape orientation. So I think we'll go with the portrait orientation. So let's click create. You can see our artboard here. So while you are on your Illustrator here, you can always set your workspace. Like for mine, I have set my workspace to Acalcom Advanced, where all the features have been added on my space here. So now originally it's always at essentials, but you need to set yours. Like you will just go into Windows, then you bring all the tools that you might need in your design. So here we are at the properties. Now we are going to select our rulers and the grids and also get the guides. So let's select ruler. When you select ruler, you can see up here, and also you're going to also select the grids. You can see now the grids, so that it helps you now to be accurate at your design. So let's bring our first ruler. We need to place it in the middle, so we just count the number of squares and find where the middle is. So I think here is the middle of this our square here. Also we're going to also pick another ruler and bring it in the middle. So I think here is the middle of that other part. Now having set our rulers and also the grid, now we are going to draw a shape and now apply the transform, and also you see how now we are going to create those shapes and make them look so brighter. So we are going to draw a rectangle, but in this rectangle we need to select a stroke of black. So let's say select a stroke of black. We're going to draw that square. When you actually put your intersection at the intersect, so it is at the intersect, sorry, so you put your pen at the intersect. Now then you are going to control shift and alt key. You can see how it snaps away to the value where you want. You can snap it and make it bigger. Now we want to make ours a little bit smaller, so that as we skew, we see how it skews from inside and outside. Having done that, you make sure your shape there is still selected. We're going to come into our appearance here. Let me reset my workspace. So I'm going to come to essential, then you select a curl. You can see now it brought me some features here along with tools. Now I'm going to select appearance. When you select appearance, now we come here at FX. That's where we're going to apply the transformation. Then there is a distort and transformation. Then we select we are going to select the transform. Under transform, you can see a lot of features. There is scale, horizontal, vertical, move horizontal. There is also angle, where in case you want to flip into different angles. There are also several options down here. Transform objects, also transform patterns, and you can also scale strokes and effects. So here we are going to make a shape from this our square here. So I think we are going to scale it out. There's also scaling it in. So in this first video, I'm going to just show you how you can scale it out and also scale it in. When we add the number of these shapes, it actually adds from the inside and also adds from the outside. So here we're going to give it a value of 105. Then here also on vertical, we also give it a value of 105. Angle, we are going to still leave it at 0. Then make sure your preview is marked, so that as we do the changes, you see how it happens in real time. So originally the copies are at 0. What we do, we just going to increase the number of copies and see how it enlarges. Nice, you can see that. As you can see that, let's make it a little bit bigger, 40, 35, 40, like that. So I think you can now see how we are making a nice looking shape. What if we apply now a stroke? Good, nice, like to look like a path, like look like a tunnel. Okay, great. Now let's remove our transform and click here. Okay, let's move this our appearance panel here. Now you want this some corners to be sharp and some to be somehow in a curvature form. So let's zoom it in. What you're going to do, you're going to click one of this corner. You see, you can do how you can expand it, scale it out. Now when you select both of them, they all moves, but what if you only want to move one corner? So if you want to move one corner, you just click inside that one, then you enlarge only that corner. So we want to leave this corner sharp and all, but also only make this adjustment on this other corner. So we come, click that point, and we're going to scale it in a little bit to make some curves. Also come here and scale it a little bit, like that, nice, that is very great. And also come to this point, scale it out. You make such a nice and amazing shape. Good. Now let's apply a gradient on this our shape here. So we're going to come to our color here and select gradient. Ooh, you see how our shape now looks like. Of course, let's view it in a presentation mode. What are you going to see? So you see such kind of shape that looks so great. Let's go back, press escape. Now having done that, I think we are through with our first demonstration. Now, how do you make this one look so attractive? What you do, in case you want to go back to where you were, you don't go back to FX, because if you go back to FX, you will be like you're creating a new transform. Just come here to transform and click transform. You will go back to where you left, and now you want to increase, let's increase, and note that there's something here. Unless you select this shape, the shape that we had here, you have to select it. You have to select that shape. There is when you can do the transform and also increase. You know that it is only the shape at the center that we are making adjustment. We are just making copies, several copies. You can zoom it in, out, to the number of copies that you want. Very nice. Now what if maybe we want to make some a little bit we flip it to a different angle. Let's give it an angle of 2 and apply. You see, it starts rotating. Give it 10. You see how we are making amazing shapes. Let's zoom it in. Let's do the size, control minus. Now you see we are making a little bit a nice shape here. So let's reduce the number of copies so that it can fit within the artboard. Of course, now let's give it 50 and see how it look at 50. Nice, you see the shape looks so great. Of course, let's take it back to 10. So taking it back to 10. So this is the first shape that we did in you saw on the work that we are saying we are going to do. So the first shape is complete. I'm going to show you another shapes. So click OK. So we are done with that. Oh, so we are going to what we are going to do now is to add another artboard. We're going to add another artboard. So you're going to come to window and bring your artboard. So artboard. So the artboard panel is here. So in case you want to add the artboard panel among the properties here, you just click here to make it a little bit smaller. Then you add it up there. So you can see now we see our artboard here. So artboard 1 here, this shape is here. You can also rename it to the name of you want. Let's say shape 1. Now we want to create another artboard to create another shape. So we're going to come down here and add a new artboard. So click here, we see our artboard 2. Rename artboard 2, shape 2. Okay, in this our artboard 2, we are also going to bring some grids. So give them some rollers. So control minus. So we are going to use control the space and also moves to move it. So we're going to bring our ruler here in the middle. Control it, control plus to zoom a little bit. So here in this artboard, what we are going to do is we're going to draw another shape. We're going to draw another shape. The last time we used a square. Now we're going to use a different shape from a square. So pick here. Let's pick a rounded rectangle. So hold Shift and Alt key to make a shape. Let it look a little big. This time we are going to scale it inwards. The first one we scale it outwards. Now in this case we are going to scale it inwards. So what we do, we come to our appearance panel, click FX. Now we are going to distort and create a transform. Because here the default state is at 100, so when we give it a value higher than 100%, we are scaling it out. But when we give it a value lower than 100%, means we are scaling it down. We are going to give the horizontal value a value lower than 100, that is 95. Here also vertical, you give it 95. Then angle we are supposed to maintain at 0. We are only going to increase the copies. You see here now how it is increasing until now it becomes so thick. You see guys, it looks so interesting. Now depends the number of copies that you give. So that's so great. And also if we rotate it to a different angle, we give it, let's say 50. Apply. Now it is rotating into such kind of shape, and apply a stroke. We have got several options here. You can add this emboss stroke. You can use that, you can apply that, or you can apply this one. You see now how it varying, it's changing. So those are how you can design them, guys. Go back to transform, give it an angle of 0. So guys, the only problem that we have with scaling it inwards is that when you scale it inwards now and apply the gradient, it will look like an opaque object. But when you scale it out, it looks so interesting, like the one that you just saw on that other one. So I think we are done with the scaling out inwards. Now we are going to design another new shape. You can always adjust the corners from this. You just come into your direct selection tool here and click this corner. When you click that corner, you just adjust its value like that. Also come and click this other corner, and you can add its value from this point here, so that it looks something amazing as the one that you see here. So a very nice looking shape like the one that you see from that point. Now we are going to into our next step now to design our final shape. So we're going to add a new artboard here. So let's add our new artboard. In this our new artboard, we are also going to add another grid. So control minus to see how we can bring our grid, and let's bring the grid. Control space, hold the space key and control minus. I think our grid is in the middle. Now let's draw our final shape here. We are going to now see how can we tamper with the gradient. So we're just going to pick our rectangle tool here. In our rectangle tool, we're just going to draw a very little shape. Make sure when you are drawing that shape, you select your bold. Just select bold and use a different color. What color should we use this time? Let's use the bold color of that color now, and select now the rectangle, and using shift and alt key, we are going to scale it out a little bit. Then after that, we are going to our transform and distort and also transform option. Here we are going to give it a value of 107, also 107. After that, let's give it a bleed an angle of 2, and here give how many copies. We are going to give it a very large number, those number of copies. Let's remove the stroke, increase the number of copies. So click OK. From here you can adjust, you can see how it will look when we apply these forms. Okay, nice. So now it depends on your choice. Mine's look so nice. So if you alternate them, they will look like the one that you see there. So okay, so having done that, now with those copies, let's reduce the number of copies so that it fits the artboard. Okay, so we're going now to apply the gradient. So click OK and apply the gradient. So I'm going to apply gradients here. It's the gradient now we are going to apply. Okay, let's bring the gradient panel into our workspace here. So come to window, we're going to bring the gradient option. So we want to add gradient into our workspace, so bring it here and add it at that position there. Then click gradient, click linear gradient. So when you click linear gradient, you can also select the radial. Okay, you can alternate it into that in that form. Okay, now after you are brought here, you can alternate, you can adjust the values, make them the ones that you might like, how it will look great for you. So let's put our panel here and go back to transform, and make sure it's an angle of 0. When it's an angle 0, then click OK and see now when we apply the gradient when it's at 0, and see how we can make our amazing shape, like how we balance the color of the gradient. You see, nice, you see. Wow, see now it looks so amazing. When I zoom in, it will look something like that. Okay, let's take it back a little bit. So control minus, we are going now to reduce the opacity. Opacity here, we need to put opacity at 0, and let's see. When we put opacity at 0, it will look like the one you see here. Wow, so bright. Now after that, we are going to apply now the angle to the transform. Bring the transform back, and we're going to give it an angle of, let's say, give it an angle of 10. Ooh, it look like that, so amazing. I'll give you an angle of 5. Wow, that. Let's give it an angle of 50 and see the shape that it will give us. Wow, it looks so amazing. I like this. Let's give you an angle of 100. Great. Transform, go back to transform. Let's give it an angle of 75, 80, 70. Wow, it looked like the shape that you see here. Don't you see it? It looks so amazing. So guys, it's like you just manipulate these transform values. So this is the shapes that I told you we will design. So you can also, you should also know how you manipulate these gradient options. So I think when we zoom in, these are the shapes that we are going to see. So let's reduce and see the shapes we just made. So I think so far so good, guys. You gain so much knowledge on how you can use the transform. Thank you for being part of this video. To see more kind of such video, remember to subscribe to support our content, and let's meet in the next video tutorial. So bye bye for now.